Hey, what's going on, my friends?
So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a couple things that have been coming up for me, which is the difference between what I consider a true thought or desire and an egoic thought or desire. And the difference between the two really is the difference between an exterior perception and an interior perception. What I mean by that is one of these decisions is being made because we are perceiving lack and we are perceiving that we want to be accepted, and we are perceiving instant gratification. And all of these things, generally speaking, come from an exterior desire to fit in, to be accepted, to give ourselves a cheap sense of quick dopamine, a dopamine hit that will essentially take us out of ourselves and where we're currently at so that we can temporarily forget about the fact that our mind is constantly grinding on us. And that is the egoic desire. This desire wants to fit in, it wants to feel like it is being heard. It's very graspy, it's very clingy. There's a stickiness to it. And what I mean by that is when you don't get this thing that you want, it tends to create some sort of break or some sort of havoc inside because there is an identity formed around this getting of the desire of what it is that you want. Meaning that when you don't get it and you strive for it and you're going after it, you're disappointed. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's actually a mechanism that keeps us secure. It keeps us essentially afraid, but it doesn't mean to keep us afraid in a way that is destructive generally. It's just a mechanism that has been around since, well, the beginning of human time, really, that wants to keep us safe. And that was very useful a long time ago when we were essentially hunter gatherers and we had to run from things that were actually physically threatening to us, things that we don't really have to do in this day and age. So we had to always be on the lookout. And now it's more of a psychological type fear. So meaning that it thinks there's something to defend in your psychology. It thinks that essentially you have to show up in a way where other people will like you. What is this person going to think about me? I hope they like me. Please accept me. That's what the egoic mind says. That's what the egoic wants show up as. Very clingy. You'll notice the difference and the contrast between this other type of desire. This other type of desire comes from what I consider a true desire from life. And when I say that, I mean, you know that little nudge that you get inside of you that has kind of a whimsical sense of wonder behind it? It's kind of more like, it's the difference between, oh, I really want that and I need that, and it's really like almost causes like a pressure inside, and like, oh, that'd be pretty cool if I could do that someday. That would be really interesting if I could meet that person. It comes from a place that's deep inside of you. It comes from a place that is down in the belly and in the heart and in the body. It can be felt intuitively. And these are generally things that we dismiss or that we see as pie in the sky or that we see as pipe dreams. And these are actually the things that, in my opinion and from my experience, need to be most felt into and most deciphered from the habitual patterning of the mind that we pick up from the outside world. Because the outside world is very conditioned on constantly going, constantly moving, constantly looking for the next thing, constantly trying to impress others, constantly trying to fit in, constantly taking you away from what is your truth. And what I'm interested in, my friends, is getting back to the part of you that feels inspired, the part of you that feels childlike, that feels playful, the part of you that desires the mystery, the part of you that likes to take risk, the part of you that wants newness and freshness in your life, the part that has been waiting for you this whole time. It's done waiting. Don't you think it's time to step into that? Because here's the thing. When you start listening to that, when you start tuning into your truest desires, into the things that give you curiosity and a sense of wonder and a sense of yes, when something just aligns and you're like, yes, that is it. This is what I'm talking about. It's been calling you the whole time, your whole life. It's what you're here to do. It's your unique imprint, your pattern, the glint on the little lens of awareness that is projecting out with light and casting your unique self, what you're truly interested in, what you're here to share with the world. And if you can discover that and live it out and breathe it, start moving with it, then that is literally, in my opinion, the greatest thing that you can possibly do for the world. Greatest thing you can possibly do for yourself, because you will be living in your authenticity. You'll be living with purpose. You will have fulfillment. That feels really good. I know you can feel it. You can feel it in the way that I'm speaking about it, because I can feel it coming through. And by you living in fulfillment and you doing what you're here to do and giving your gifts and expressing your natural, true self, you naturally give others the permission to do that for themselves. Just by being you. Just by living that life. It's better than telling people what they should be doing. It's better than saying, I'm the greatest, having this ego-y thing of, look at me, I'm amazing, I'm cool, which is just another way of saying, don't you like me? Please like me. Please worship me. Please show me adulation. Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of what works and what doesn't. It's a matter of what you say that you want. It's a matter of what direction you're trying to go. If that's the direction you're trying to go, and you want everybody to like you, and you want to continue living in ego land, then that's a direction you can go. It just ultimately leads to dissatisfaction. It ultimately leads to pain and disappointment. It may feel good for a moment, but this other thing I'm talking about is very much more lasting. It's a more lasting sense of satisfaction. It's something that really gives the sense of like an overflowing sense of ease and joy and contentment. And the way we start tapping into that is by starting to really pay attention to the little whispers inside, because it will generally start out as a whisper. And so often we don't even know what it is that we're listening for, or how to distinguish these egoic patterns, these more graspy, clingy patterns of wanting, from the ones that are more childlike and whimsical, that are more like, oh, Yeah, I wonder what that would be like. That sounds interesting. It really grabs me. It's something I've always wanted to do. You know, I'm sure you've had those moments. A profound interest. There is a way to uncover it. There's multiple ways to uncover it. We can get into some of those at a different time. Well, you know what? What the hell? I'll give you some of them right now. Some of my ways to uncover it is to write. Is to write about what I really want, who I really want to be, what I want to talk like, walk like, act like, look like, think like. What I've always been interested in. Things that I've never actually taken up, but that I know are something that has naturally arisen within me at some point in my life. And the more you write, the more will just naturally come out. That's how you tap into that. That's how you dig down through those layers and layers and layers of conditioning that are more up here. They're more in the head. Once you start sinking down into the body, into the heart, into the belly, that's when you start digging into the kinesthetic aspect, the part of the body that knows. It's part of the body that tells the truth. The body is a truth-telling machine. Like, you know, when you feel resistance, that's the body saying, go the other way. It's saying something's not right here. It's saying that I am resisting reality. I am going against my own inner knowing. I am going against my own good sense. And so you can rediscover that. You can rediscover it through writing. You can rediscover it through what they call meditation, which is really just a quieting, which is really, you can be on a walk and be meditating. You can be, as one of my teachers said, porch sitting. You can be sitting on the porch, staring out at whatever's around you and just being and allowing these things to come up, wondering. Get yourself in a sense of imagination. That's how you find it. And that's how you start unraveling what is authentically yours and what has been given to you by others. And that's not to say that to ask for advice or to get things from others is wrong or bad. Oftentimes it is very useful and very helpful. I know that in my life that has been that way. I found a lot of use and a lot of help in mentors, coaches, retreats, meditation, just talking to friends. That's really been the biggest one, talking to friends. But unless it aligns fully with who you are, unless it aligns with your own natural inclination, and it feels like a yes, like a convicted yes in the body, unless you get that sensation, then I would invite you to examine it. Examine why you're taking it on, and I almost guarantee you that you will find that you're considering taking something on, a suggestion, an idea, a belief, because you think that it will make you fit in, because you think that others will accept you more easily, because you have this grand idea that you must desert yourself in order to gain the favor of others. And let me tell you, those aren't the people whose favor you want to gain in the first place. The people's favor you want to gain are the people who will accept you for the human being you are, which often counterintuitively to the egoic patterning is exactly what you need to do in order to find the tribe and the people that you most connect with. I'll say that again. It's exactly what you need to do. Listen to yourself is exactly what you need to do, which will produce the result of the people that you most genuinely connect with. That's how this whole game works. You've probably heard this before. It's an inner game. You may not believe it, but it is true. Who you are inside and who you decide to be, who you frame your identity as, what you believe will dictate what comes into your life. It'll dictate the decisions you make. It'll dictate the people you talk to. It'll dictate the nudges and the intuitions and those you approach. It'll dictate your words. It'll dictate what environment you find yourself in. So, my friends, don't you think it's time we start listening? Don't you think it's time we clear away some of the debris and find out what's actually underneath? Because that's where all the good stuff is. That's where intuition is. That's where being guided is. It's funny because you can't actually screw it up. You can ignore it for a long time and suffer, be in pain, be disappointed, be dissatisfied. Ultimately, you may have some moments of joy, some moments of satisfaction and achievement, but you'll always be left feeling empty. So this is where we start turning towards what is true for us. It's time. Do the work. Start asking the right questions. Who am I really? What am I here to do? What do I actually want? What don't I want? What don't I want my life to look like? What am I truly interested in, outside of what anybody tells me? What am I negatively believing about myself? Those are the questions that start unraveling the thread of false belief and lead you to, eventually, or quickly sometimes, to that extrasensory perception inside that has conviction and has a yes, that is your unique gift. That is what you are here to express. It's what you've come here to live out. And you don't want to live with the regret of never discovering it, never finding it. I lived that way for a long time. It still catches me sometimes, still stops me up. But the difference now is that I close the gap. Meaning, I close the periods of time. The moments get smaller and smaller between when I am stuck in that state of mind of lack, of worry, of anxiety, of hoping somebody likes me. Please like me. And when I get back to my truth, when I get back to, in essence, not giving a fuck about what anybody else thinks or wants from me, about what anybody else wants me to be. And then I just do me. I get back to that. And the more and more you step into it, the more and more you become familiar with it, the more and more you listen to the nudges, the easier it gets to stay in that state. Because remember, this is divine intelligence we're talking about here. This is the thing, the life force that underpins all of reality. It is reality. And when you're living in falsehood, it will continue to tap you on the shoulder. And it'll get louder and louder and louder and become a little slap on the face. And it'll become a bludgeoning over the head with a baseball bat, figuratively speaking. I mean, I probably won't actually get hit with a baseball bat, but there'll be more pressure built up. And it will get harder and harder and harder on you until you're forced to listen, because it wants you to be someone else. It wants you to be who you came here to be and what you came here to express. It doesn't want you to be false anymore. So let's stop lying. Let's start telling the truth. My recommendation, do some writing. Dig in. Figure out what your false beliefs are. Figure out what you actually want. Write about it every day. I like to write about it as like a prayer to life. A prayer saying, what do you want from me? What do you want to express through me? Who am I? What do I actually want? What jazzes me up? What really gets me juiced? You know? Do that. Take time for walks. Take time to sit. Take time to listen to music. Just take time for yourself and let these intuitions, these answers, these premonitions arise. Because they will arise on their own. They'll bubble up all on their own once you get curious about who you truly are. So, thanks for joining in for the very first episode of the Culmination Project. And I'm calling that the Culmination because it's obviously my name combined with the last over a decade of building and figuring all this stuff out and getting back to my natural self. It's culminated to this point. And now I'm releasing this so that I can share what I've experienced and what I'm experiencing and document and hopefully inspire some of you. So hope to see you next time. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope this helps. Love you all. Peace.